Welcome everyone to another episode of Big Brain MMA podcast, Final Bets for UFC 284. I'm your host, Big Steve, once again. So just late night Saturday, just finalizing these bets, and hopefully we keep the train rolling and quickly go over everything and we'll get into it. All right, let's not waste any more time. Alrighty, just the internet running a little bit slow, of course, just as I start the stream. Alrighty. Starting a little bit early, so I'll just wait a couple of seconds. Alrighty, that'll do. So the first fight, Zubaira Tukhugov, Elvis Brenner. No interest in this fight. I was going to retape and see if I liked Zubaira inside the distance or the under 2.5. Pardon me. Just because the first thing that stuck out with Elvis Brenner, super hittable, especially in the third round when he gets gassy. But yeah, just don't want any bar of this fight. Zubaira lightweight, missed weight, just crap show of a fight. Let's move on. Blake Builder, Shane Young. So interesting fight, right? Everyone is on Shane Young. I taped it at Pick'em. I liked Builder at that point. I just left it. I didn't have too much confidence. I just like the winning attitude from Blake Builder. I hit him on Contender as well. The same people saying, not the same people. People saying the same stuff about him back then. Hittable, plays the guard too much. Pulls wins out of his ass when he's losing, which I guess is true. But I just see a guy that has good cardio, good power. He's a good back taker. He's got multiple ways to win. And then on the other side, Shane Young is just a plodding punching bag to me. And I retaped it again. Just the same. Whether it's the Rolando D fight or whether it's the most recent fight against Morales, he's always the same fighter. And if he's losing, what's he going to do different? If Blake Builder's losing, I know he's going to come out there, swarm. He can mix into wrestling. He can brawl. Like I said, he's got good cardio. He's got multiple ways of winning this fight, whereas Shane Young just, stick and move, I guess. Poor counter, drop builder. He looked in good shape as well. I like his movement. He's a lot less flat-footed. So yeah, I'm against the grain here. I got half a unit on Blake Builder at $2.20. There's better lines than that, $2.30, but I didn't feel like moving some funds around. I just played the best line I could get on the account where I had money on. So yeah, half a unit on Blake Builder, 500 to win, $600. I don't want to go too heavy. It's a bit freaky that I'm the only one on the other side, but I feel like Builder is the side here. Loma Lupumi, Elise Reed. Loma's fight to lose. I regret not hitting the juice at $1.36. I was just looking for something to parlay with. I just can't find anything on this card, personally. So I just, you never know. The Australian judges freaked me out, so I just didn't want to lay the juice on Loma, even though I think this is her fight to lose. Even if it's standing, she has very good distance management, so I think she even has Reed beat there. But as soon as they clinch up, Loma's going to throw her around. Otherwise, round 3 or decision, I would have played Loma. But that's a bit juiced too. So, fast fight. Jack Jenkins, Don Chaney. I thought I'd like a few things here. I see, the over 1.5 is very popular. I'm more of a under guy rather than over guy. Whenever I play juiced overs, I lose. Sheamus is very rabies, very aggressive. Could be a very sweaty over. And Jack Jenkins, despite him being very patient, very calculated, I can see it going over because he doesn't force anything. And he's had 2 title fights in Eternal MMA, and he kicked the crap out of the guys, and they still went over. It's just I don't know if Sheamus can survive that kind of damage. With how aggressive he's going to be, how hard he's going to swing. Sheamus also gets his back taken a lot, even in round 1. He got wobbled in round 1 by one of the cans on regionals. So even though I think it goes over, it's just going to be very sweaty. I just didn't feel comfortable at that price. Also don't feel comfortable, parlaying Jenkins. He still has a lot to prove to me, even though he seems quite good. What I took here is rounds 2 and 3 submission for Jenkins. It's paying almost $10. I was going to put $100, for fun to win 900, but I put 150 to win 1,200. Why not? I just feel, I keep seeing Don Sheamus get his back taken. Jack Jenkins is a good wrestler. You don't see him much. He mostly likes the calf kick. But yeah, a little sprinkle on that. It's paying more than rounds 2, 3 KO. I think there's going to be a lot of grappling. Yeah, one of his title fights, Jack Jenkins took Pereira's back in internal and choked him out. I think that's very live. Yeah, if you watched Don Chanis's fight with, I forgot his name, Lencioni. Lencioni, he got saved by the bell. Oh, pardon me, why's my throat hurting? He got saved by the bell there, so in a rear naked choke, and he gets his back taken all the time. So rounds 2 and 3, Jack Jenkins, little long shot stab. Malaki Prado, I think this is a dog or pass. I don't see a lot of people advocating for Malaki Juice. You just can't trust him. He's been spiked before. It's a risky fight. Prado, he's very young, but who knows? Maybe he's the real deal. At least you know he's going to fight for your money. Both these guys will. I have the fight doesn't go to decision. Just the unit. The under 2.5 is a bit of a better price, 13 cents better. But I just, I'm not overly confident. It's just, Malaki's a finisher, Prado's a finisher. I just played it for a unit. The reason I played it doesn't go, even though the under 2.5 is a little bit better, is just in case Prado is a bit gassy, which, a lot of people are saying you can kind of see him gas in the regionals. I want every minute, every second of that round 3. If Malaki is trying to break him down with a grinding style. So yeah, one unit there, $1,000 to win 615. I just think whether Malaki gets sparked, whether Prado gets sparked, I think this fight should finish more often than not. Clayton Rodriguez, Shannon Ross. Like I mentioned, I did have a bit of juice on this fight. I had $2,000 on Clayton, $1.40, and then had the $500 on the fight ends in under 2.5 rounds, which is plus money. It was plus money for a while until today, and now a lot of money came in on it, and I felt like keeping it just for that reason alone because I beat so much CLV. After retaping, I just thought, look, the things that I see with Clayton is it does have those red flags. He doesn't like pressure. He fights within himself. When pressured, he got quite gassy against CJ, and now he's flying to Perth. Shannon Ross fights the exact same way. I do get the Ross, this is a big step up for Shannon Ross, and he's a little bit hittable. It gets dropped in a lot of his fights, but he wins a lot of those fights too. And he's just, if he can do the exact same thing here, CJ, I just didn't want to lose too much money on a juiced favorite, which I could clearly see had some flaws. And the reason I cashed out the under is just like Corotolo, the guy on Contender Series. If you look at his record, he's a KO guy, but he's also been KO'd himself. He got KO'd in round 1 after Contender, and he quit on the stool in the fight after that. So he's a very flaky and not durable guy, and Clayton didn't get him out of there, with his style. He's more of a kicker than anything. At worst, I can maybe see him drop Shane Ross multiple times and then not finish him. And, despite the under being value and plus money, I just don't like losing unders like that. I feel like I'm good at them because I'm very selective. So, yeah, happy to miss out on that. There is an early finish. In the end, I did keep one unit on Clayton Rodriguez, $1,000, just because I feel like this could be a levels fight. Sometimes I can overthink things. So I've reduced to just 1,000 on Clayton to win 400. I think Ross is going to pressure. I think he's going to get cracked, hit. I don't think he's on the level of even someone like CJ Vergara, at least durability wise. I think Rodriguez can take him down. And if things are turning, you can potentially live bet out of it. But yeah, $1,000 on Clayton. Not my favorite bet, but we'll see. Josh Kulabau, Melsik Bagdasarian, massive pass fight for me. I see people on either side. At first, I was leaning Kulabau, but now I'm leaning Melsik just because it's going to be a lot more faster and athletic, explosive, more eye-catching shots early. And then you can potentially live bet out. But yeah, just I don't know. Don't know if I want anything on this. And yeah, a lot of these fights, I'm just very nervous about the whole Perth scenario and the jet lag and the coaches and the reffing in Australia, notoriously bad, and the judging as well. So I guess after a couple of live bet fights, we can gauge the judges, we can gauge how people are handling the cardio, and then I can decide on some of these fights. I play a lot of these fights during the day, so yeah, pass there. Tyson Pedro Bukaskis, that's a pass for me too. I was really close to playing Bukaskis. Everything on tape tells me that Tyson's not good outside of round 1. And at that point, I was really close to playing the over 1.5. It's probably one of the best priced over 1.5s out of all the decent ones. just because, Bukakis wins, most likely it's a decision with stick and move style, and, Pedro relatively durable, and there's not going to be any takedowns involved from Bukakis' side. But then, just seeing Bukakis, how hittable he is, how much naked kicks he throws, and you can just see that Pedro hits hard, man. He's fighting within himself since he's come back from his injury, which is good, I guess, because I don't think he has the cardio to just be super reckless, and he's tall and long. But yeah, it's just one of those fights where I want to fade Pedro, but I don't think Bukakis is the guy to fade him with. And I can just live bet it, If he gets out of round 1, I can see how Bukakis' cardio is looking, how Pedro's cardio is looking, and just make my decision there. But yeah, I think Pedro could potentially spark him in the first, so don't want to risk my money. Jimmy Crute, Alonzo Menifield. I remember me and Pepe were discussing this fight quite a lot. It's a hard fight to get a read on. All the value seems to be in Alonzo, but Crute is the much better fighter, much proven fighter, especially when he gets out of the first round. Alonzo falls apart. Alonzo has all the tools to beat Crute early. Crute is hittable, not the best wrestling, and Alonzo has really high quality takedown defense early. At that point, Crute has to stand with him with his awful defense, but Alonzo also has awful defense. When you look at the under is it was a pick 'em, but now it's a little bit juiced now. And then you see Crute. Crute was injured. He fixed his ACL, and now he says he's feeling a lot better. He's going to be a lot more composed. He's going to break Alonzo bit by bit. And he's like, is he going to be patient? He was pretty patient against Anthony Smith. You don't know how Alonzo's going to come out. Is Alonzo going to be patient? His first fight under Pat Barry came out like a maniac against Serkinov, which maybe does that here. It's just tough to tell. I still have my $100 on Alonzo Menifield round 1, which it's paying $7.50. I think that's value, massive value, considering that's in most of Alonzo's UFC wins. That's his best path, even if Crute is one of the most high-level guys he's fought. And I left half a unit on the under just because I think it covers the Menifield. It covers the Menifield early 1 KO, and it also covers the Jimmy Crute. Despite Alonzo being durable and having good takedown defense, he's still flaky, and yeah, it's just Crute hits like a truck, man. Crute can crack him, and if you look at his the fights that he was winning, good pull counter against Sam Alvey, a beautiful counter of a naked kick against Bukakis, so he's a lot more technical than Menifield, so maybe he cracks him here. Full disclosure, I know it's meant to be final bets. I still haven't decided whether I'm keeping my half a unit on the under 1.5. I was thinking maybe keeping the half a unit on the under 1.5. I just lose 500. Potentially Crute can cash me that bet. Alonzo can cash me the bet. If it goes over, then I'm looking at live betting. Potentially Crute, whoever has the better cardio. If I only have $100 on Menifield, I risk minimal for maximum return. But then, Crute runs through him in round 1. It ends up being a levels fight, and it's like, the under 1.5 is quite value here. Half a unit wouldn't have hurt. So we'll see. Full disclosure, I know it's meant to be final bets, but I still haven't decided on this fight. That's how hard it is for me to get a read. So, yep, $100 on Menifield and half a unit on the other 1.5. Bo Jackson, how are you, mate? Thanks for tuning in. I was last time when I went late at night, there was a lot more people in the comments, but that's fine. I've got to start doing this a bit sooner. It's a busy February. Justin Taffer, Parker Porter. Alrighty, this is one of my first money lines, the 1 unit bet. I was getting a bit cold feet. Originally when I taped it, I was kind of getting cold feet, but by the end of the tape, I was like, all right, Taffer. So many things not to like about him. Flat-footed, and just one shot at a time, and not the great defense, and slow, just everything, right? Getting outstruck at distance for 3 rounds by Carlos Jr., Philippe, who doesn't throw much, and also Jared Vandera, who does throw much, but it's Jared Vandera. And then, listening to people say, oh, no, you should pass. I looked into it again just before I went on the podcast, probably the best I felt tonight, late night, had some tea. And you have to play Porter, he's a bit reckless. He's going to blitz into the pocket, and he's going to, put himself in harm's way. But he has his guard up high. He covers up well. He can be hit. He can be countered. Bordeaux landed a beautiful uppercut. Everyone's landed uppercuts. People have caught him coming in because he just ducks his head and comes in, but he's taken it well. The only one that kind of blitzed him was Dorcas, but he took a lot of shots there, and I think the power of Dorcas and speed compared to Tafa is a complete different level. I watched all the Tafa's UFC fights, and he's hitting a lot of these, the Castro, even people that are not super durable like Felipe and Vandera, Castro, and who else? Even hit Hunsucker a couple of times, until he finally finished him. So he doesn't have one punch KO power. He's got a really good uppercut. I could be eating my words, but the more you watch Porter, and it's just like this, he is the play here. He said he's going to fight the exact same way, so he's going to pressure, crowd, Tafa. Tafa's going to hate that because Tafa just wants to stand in the middle and look to counter and body kick you. It's just, it's going to be sweaty because Porter's going to make it a war. But the more of a war it is, the more Tafa's going to get gassed, I reckon. And then Porter, he turns it on, man. And that Bordeaux fight, Bordeaux is a lot more fleet-footed and fast. And that's the problem with Porter because he's not athletic and his wrestling's not the best. But he's got another footer here in Tafa. One shot at a time. So at the moment I've got a unit $1,000 to win 1,250. I probably will reduce. I'm just thinking of how do I reduce? Do I leave half a unit for like 700 profit and then add another half, or do I reduce it to like 0.8 to win a unit? Unit's fine on this low level heavyweight fight. But I'm relatively happy to take it. I'm going to keep it. Get Tafa getting around 1 KO. It will be annoying. It'll be surprising, but I think Porker's good. And even though his wrestling's bad, if he gets a takedown, man, he's going to look massive favorite here. So let's move on. Randy Brown, Jack Mandalena. Let me just address Bo Jackson since he's my only comments in the chat. Praise to you on that Manafield bet. Which one, mate? The under or the $100 on Manafield round 1? Because I don't care about that one. And I was really close to paying, putting like a half unit on Manafield. It's just I don't like his win equity after round 1. You got a good time slot. Yeah, it's not bad. Porter has a lot of years on the mats. He does. Yeah. If Porter doesn't get head kicked, it should be good. Yeah, man, honestly, it seems like such a good bet. Just look at Tafa's record, man. Look at his fights in the UFC. He's actually, even though Porter's beating the bottom of the barrel Bordeaux, I reckon Bordeaux would dance around Tafa for 3 rounds. Easy peasy. With no wrestling involved. He would box up Tafa. He almost knocked out Nascimento. He made Aspinall uncomfortable on the feet. Yeah, he almost knocked out Parisian. But that was no joke, man. He would look like Floyd Mayweather against Tafa. So I think Tafa's even one more level under the Shermans and the Porters and Jared Vanderas, which is just sad. It's embarrassing. All right, let's move on. We talked a lot about that fight. Now, Randy Brown, Jack Della Maddalena. I had the under 2.5 here. I've cashed it out. I watched that Angelusa fight again, and that's the only fight that Maddalena didn't finish or get finished in his whole entire career. And that's my fault sometimes when I tape and I'm very visual. I see that he didn't finish him, and it scares me off that this is going to not be finished. But it's mostly the line. $1.60. It's quite juiced. I don't know how much value there is there. Randy Brown's quite hittable, and some people say he's fragile, but he's only been, whenever he's been stopped, he's been put out cold by Luque and Nico Price, the hardest hitters. But if you're going to hurt him, wobble him, like took 2 clean shots from Chaos Williams and still survived. That's what I'm nervous about here. I do like how Jack Della Maddalena just constant pressure, stays in the pocket. He's probably going to give Randy Brown no space to breathe when he's doing his little ducks and weaves. Like Trinaldo, there a lot of people back off. Jack Della Maddalena is going to stay in the pocket and just look to work the body, throw combinations. I do like that for the under. Maybe I play some, Jack 1 and 2 KO. I think by round 3 he was kind of blowing out against Lusa. I think maybe at that point he might be a little bit gassed. Might not have as much juice to put him away. But I also like in that under, I like the potential chance for Randy Brown to submit him. Della's quite hittable too. That's because he likes to stand in the pocket. But I don't know if Brown can finish him. Maybe drop him or something. Jack Della Maddalena hasn't been finished. It was like 18-20. And a lot of that was he was gassed and, a boy versus men. And he knocked out one of those guys in the rematch with 1 punch before the UFC. So, just a pass. I don't know. Maybe I come around to that Jack Della rounds 1 and 2 KO. It's plus money. So Bo Jackson, I put a couple of bucks on Della round 2. Yeah, probably the most likely round, mate. I like that. Probably the most likely round. I think Brown most likely gets out of round 1. Yeah, Rodriguez, Josh Emmett. I've got that doesn't go to decision in that co-main. Again, not super confident. It's just I just played the number. Like someone else said to me today, I expected it to be minus money, like minus 160 or something in a 5-rounder. People that 2 guys that hit crazy hard, and Dr. Stoppage's cuts. They're both going to come out crazy. Plus injury news. Yeah. Again, don't feel comfortable because I'm a visual better, and while taping it, both these guys seem durable, and it seems like most likely will go to the decision. But I'm just playing the number here. We'll see how it works out for me. $1,000 to win 1,200 or 1,300. I can't remember. And then the main event. I had a lot of buyer's remorse with how many overs I had on Makhachev, and then the line moved the other way. I thought maybe I'm underestimating Makhachev. After last year, I have a rule where I don't bet juiced overs, but there's going to be a lot of ground dominance. So I was kind of, talking myself out of it. Mostly, I was just upset that I was never going to keep the over 2.5 rounds. I just locked it in, and then I was mostly upset that when I went to cash it out, the line moved the other way, and then cashing it out now, I was going to lose money. That upset me, which I hate. I hate when I get CLVs wrong. But yeah, I just typed that first, and I was like, oh, this is. And people actually type it themselves. They're going to see that this is going to go long. There's no way Volk's finished unless people are just overlooking the Chad Mendes fight. Unless people, a lot of people when they tape, they don't see the second layer of tape. They see the most basic thing. It's hard to explain, but they don't look into it properly. Right? They don't look while Volk was fighting like he was fighting against Chad Mendes, for example, and that he's going to fight completely different against Makhachev, right? I'll leave it at that just so I don't go on a rant. But yeah, I retaped it today, and I got to cash out my overs over 1.5s. Didn't lose any money, and yeah, I'm relatively happy with what I have. So what I have is I have fight to start round 3, $1,000 to win 500 and something. I think that's a little bit safer. I think the over 2.5, you're pushing it a little bit, even though I still think he probably goes over. It's just the size thing, the size and the way Volk fights. It just kind of overextends, gives himself to be taken down. He admitted he'll be taken down. It's just as good as he is, as safe he will be on the ground. I just think potentially 2.5 minutes in round 2 could be, Dober just didn't make it under 2.5, and I think fight starts round 2 is enough value, and it's decent price. And then I have fight ends in finish, $1.60, $1,000 to win 620. That was kind of like my pseudo hedge. If he finishes under 2 rounds, then I still win my fight finishes. I only lose like $400. And then my favorite bet on this main event is, which you can get on Neds, which is Australian bookie. They're sponsoring the Eternal MMA, which is happening right now in Perth. Unfortunately, there was no odds for me tonight. I've made a lot of money on that Eternal MMA. Is Makhachev to get at least two rounds or more, 2 takedowns or more, right? Which he usually gets, especially against better opponents. Took Dober down in every single round 3 times. Took Moises down 3-4 times. Even took Charles Oliveira down twice, which I don't remember. I watched it again today. And also Oliveira had great takedown defense in the clinch against the cage in that fight, which I think Volk can do as well. But still in that fight, despite how reckless and how aggressive Oliveira was, Makhachev still ended up getting 2 takedowns. So I think, if this is going to get dragged out, it's going to be Makhachev getting 2 takedowns at worst. I don't see him getting 1 and running through Volkanovski. If he does, and so be it. I've been burned, but I'll still win my fight. Doesn't go to decision. But yeah, I think this is going to be a long fight. After retaping it, I'm back to giving Volkanovski the credit he deserves. Islam also blows a little bit. If you look, he kind of blows. He's blowing out of his mouth against Oliveira. He's blowing out of his mouth against Sarukian. Obviously, it means nothing because he still puts it on these guys. He puts it on these guys quite, still grapples the crap out of him in round 3 and 4 when he's blowing out of his mouth and looks like it's kind of slowing down. But if he's copping punches to the face from Volkanovski, who knows? Maybe a different story. So yeah, if this gets finished in round 3 and above, and Islam has at least 2 takedowns, then it's a red panty for me. Win 1,600, 700, something like that. If it gets finished in round 1, then I lose about 1,400. I lose 2 of my bets. I mean, the reason I like the Islam plus 2 takedowns, they can hit in a minute. Right? He can get Volkanovski down. Volkanovski can work his way up. And he can get Matt returned again. That's 2 takedowns. Boom, you hit it in the first round. So that's why I like that bet as opposed to the overs. But yeah, I was talking a little bit too much about that one. Kai Ricks, how are you, mate? Someone else in the comments. Put a unit on Volk here. Need him to become Aussie Armin for 25 minutes. Might be a donation, but oh well. It could be a donation, mate. I taped that again today just because I see a lot of people referencing that fight. I just think Armin is a big lightweight and Volk isn't. And Armin is, look what Armin did to Islam. I don't think Volk is going to do that. It's just the wrestling he has. He's probably the closest guy to Islam. But I can actually see Volkanovski taking him down, Moises took him down. Volkanovski has great wrestling, man. You see in his featherweight run, Elkins, Kennedy, anyone that tries to wrestle him, Volk just overpowers him. So yeah, I personally, me playing the overs, I think it's my way of giving Volkanovski the credit he deserves. I still think he might give up takedowns. So rather than hit his early line, I'm just going to look to live bet it. If I'm seeing Makhachev slow down, call up the phone. I cancelled some plans I had tomorrow, or more I got out of them. So live bet is on, boys. Let's go. Bo Jackson, I think right when we think it's over, Islam gets a sub in the third. Yeah, something like that's going to happen. He's very quick with his subs. The reason I was nervous is because I remembered how he went for that armbar against Drew Dober. But you think Volkanovski has better submission defense than Drew Dober. Darius Olive's going to be awesome. Sure will, mate. Can't wait. Steve Gregory, welcome. Yaya Emmett under 4.5. And Pedro Bukaskis over 1.5 rounds. My favorite bets on the card. Yeah, so like I said, I've got the Emmett doesn't start. It doesn't finish. Finishes, pardon me, just because I remember that Yaya last second knockout. I won every minute. It was only 10 cents difference. I won every second. And yeah, like I mentioned, I did like that over 1.5 in the Pedro Bukaskis, but I just chose to stay off. I still have issues with Bukaskis' durability. That's one of the reasons I didn't lay the juice on him against Campbell in Cage Warriors. Kyrax, do you reckon Gamrot could present any problems for Islam? No, unfortunately, I don't, mate. I think I played Gamrot against Sarukian just because of the 5-round cardio and Sarukian not being tested. But I think Makhachev has the cardio to just completely nullify Gamrot. Gamrot is just not physical enough. That's always been his problem, and doesn't have good control. So, but yeah, Gamrot's literally my favorite fighter. He's up there now. I love his scrambling ability. But yeah, that's it. Let's quickly get over all the picks. Zubaira, massive pass. Blake Builder, my first bet on the card, going against the grain here. $2.20, half a unit to win $600. I just don't rate Shane Young. Shane Young, plotting, punching bag. I think Builder has a lot more past the victory. Lama Lukbumi, her fight to lose. I was looking to stuff to parlay her. We had nothing I really like. Jack Jenkins, rounds 2 and 3 sub, paying a nice hefty number. Just a little $100 sprinkle. Hopefully it pays off. Jamie Malaki, Prado, fight doesn't go. 1,000 to win 600. Clayton Rodriguez, Shannon Ross, keeping my 1 unit, my 1,000 on Clayton Rodriguez to win 400. Don't let me down. If he lets me down, then everyone knows that I was right. But yeah, if he lets me down, it's a good lesson in not forcing bets because it's one of those ones that if he loses, I can see why he lost. Plus, Kulibao, Melsik, big pass, look for live bet. Pedro Bukaskis, well, I like the over and I'm also liking Modestus, but I'm just going to live bet it. Jimmy Crute, Manifield, $100 on Manifield, round 1 KO, and I have $500 in the under. I'm not sure which one I'm going to cash out. We'll see. See how my night's going tomorrow. Justin Tarfer, Parker Porter. I got a unit on Porter. I'll probably reduce to 800 to win a unit. It's still a low-level heavyweight fight. Randy Brown, Jack Della, pass. Maybe play Jack Della 1-2 KO. Rodriguez, Emmett, fight doesn't go. 1,000 to win 1,200. And Makhachev, Volkanovski. Fight starts round 3, $1,000 to win 500 and something. Makhachev to get 2 takedowns or more, $1,000 to win 450, and fight doesn't go, 1,000 to win 620. Red Panty if it goes over 3 rounds and finishes. Now I'm actually, after retaping, now I'm actually nervous that Volk makes it to a decision and I lose, and that would make me break even, because I have, if he gets 2 takedowns, I'll win $1,000 and then I'll lose 1,000 on the fight to finish. So either way, I felt like I was kind of forcing the overs, but we'll see. Most likely, I have a deep inclination that I'll hit all 3 of my bets on the main event. Bo Jackson, Builder, thumbs up. Let's hope so, mate. I think we're in the same Discord and no one there is on Builder, so we're going against the grain here. But you got to trust your gut. I'm just trusting my gut here. In terms of favorite bets, favorite bets. It's going to have to be Islam 2+ takedowns. I think realistically, he hits that more often than not on someone as good as Volkanovski. But I just think Volkanovski is going to stay safe. And I did say Porter was my favorite on other podcasts, and I didn't have much confidence about it. But man, I'm going to have to say it again. Oh, Builder. You know what? Builder's my favorite bet. Second favorite. Let's go. Let's go against the grain. Builder at $2.20 underdog. Second favorite bet. And Makhachev 2+ takedowns. Actually, if you don't have that 2+ takedowns, that's a bit dirty for me. Because I don't know, some bookies don't offer it. So I'll say Porter and Black Builder. But if you have like FanDuel or something on Neds, Makhachev +2 takedowns. Josh Emmett look like skeleton. Josh Wynn, baby, how are you, mate? It's just keeping me on my toes with the name changes, eh? Bo Jackson, he looked good at the ceremonials. Yeah, I wouldn't look too much into the weigh-ins, right? Everyone looks drawn out at the weigh-ins. It's how they recover, I guess, how they replenish. His wife looked good all week. I agree, Just Win, baby, but yeah, can't say too much. Let me just listen to the podcast. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks for listening. I feel a little bit more comfortable after retaping everything. Last pay-per-view was great, even though I started $2,000 down. So let's hopefully this one is great, and I don't start $2,000 down. Like and subscribe. KSW next week. I'm going to do a first full card breakdown for KSW. Someone asked me last week. I just didn't have time for the first one. That first one, I found so many good spots. The under, the Kleber Silver guy, it was $3 underdog. It's just, I forced a little bit too many bets. But yeah, I'm excited to take the whole card next week. So there'll be a pod. So yeah, tune in. Hopefully some good bets on KSW and the UFC. That UFC is trash from a viewing perspective. But honestly, I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be good from a betting suspicion. Whatever. I lost my track of words. Kimikaga Kaya, just in time, mate. What's up, Steve? We'll catch up later with your final bets. But thanks and good luck. Thank you, mate. All right. That's it for me. Let's call it a day. It's 10 o'clock at night. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, do it. Otherwise, good luck on your bets tomorrow. And keep an eye on my Twitter for some live betting content. Good night.